Hi, I'm Dave Sobel from the Business of Tech podcast, here to give you a little bit of insight into the way that I think about those that are giving advice, particularly now. If you haven't heard of it, there's a well-known, well-documented psychological pattern called imposter syndrome. It's a persistent, internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. It comes from where one doubts their own accomplishments, usually attributing their success to luck, or they interpret it as the results of deceiving others into thinking they're more intelligent than they perceive themselves. I totally suffer from this. I work hard. I've built a successful business. I built 2 channel programs I'm very proud of, one of which the CEO attributed tens of millions of dollars in economic value to. I built peer groups across Europe, successful teams in both mine and in businesses owned by others. And I generally just feel like some guy figuring it out as I go. Everyone is going to figure me out eventually. I'm sure of it. I was a pretty nerdy kid in high school, and I'm pretty nerdy now. And so was way worse. And I hold on to that. Now, I bring this up because you might not know this about me based on being pretty confident and usually in a pretty good mood. I'm generally outwardly confident, but inside I do doubt myself. And I check myself all the time. I do know that my experience is pretty good and that I have a lot of specific data to draw upon. It's also why I leverage a lot of data to make decisions. I don't always believe that my experience is going to know where I'm going. The data I look for is a reinforcement of my own insecurities. For me, this is why I didn't consult when I sold my MSP. What the hell did I know about running everyone else's business? So I spent my 8 years at vendors working with various providers and learning from them what worked, what didn't, and then taking that information and the indirect results I could see of their performance via their purchase from the vendor. And then I understood what worked. This gave me insights to thousands of more providers, and data drove our decisions. It was about building that larger set of analysis tools and the data insight to prove it at large scale, which is the skill set I both wanted and acquired. I used to quip that I could tell you how much every beer I bought generated in revenue, because the idea was that I knew the providers we were engaging with, we knew the programs we were running, and we knew what our desired outcomes were in terms of growth in revenue. Our success was tied to our customers' success because we knew that if they were consuming more software, it was because they had more customers. This was how I built more data skills. Data matters. Let's take a moment and define best practices. The idea is not, I did this one time and it worked for me. What it means is that you compared various practices, did an analysis of the results, and determined which worked most effectively. It does not mean I built this one company and therefore I'm qualified to consult with everyone about how to build every business. It's a skill to build a business, learning sales, operations, finance, HR. But optimizing a business means you need multiple data points and multiple points of view. Data matters. Not all those who give advice are created equal. In my last video, I slammed a vendor for recommending they provide a discount when they themselves wouldn't do it. Well, the following week, they had a consultant say the same thing, same horrible advice. In a follow-up, I asked the consultant what data drove the recommendation. The consultant thought it was an odd question because there was, quote, no research data on this subject. The consultant continued by saying it was drawn upon 30 years of business experience and discussions with other MSPs and other consultants. This is my interpretation of that. An opinion compared with another bunch of opinions. Here's another opinion. I listened to a podcast with a well-known channel trainer. Again, the trainer says, I've been in tech 30 years, 20 years owning my business. And so the quote you knew was coming. That may mean compromising on when their customers pay them. To the trainer's credit, they indicated this is what their business and what they were doing. But again, thus, it's an opinion. There's no data there. This is a data point of one. Back to that definition of best practices. A best practice is something that, through research, you have determined is a behavior exhibited by companies who have best-in-class performance. Let's observe there is data we can leverage. Calling on Service Leadership, that consulting organization who has a proven track record of data analysis, and, to quote Paul Dipple, the largest database of financial performance of solution providers on the planet. I've included a link in the notes to what Service Leadership has provided, which is their rapid recovery planning guide. You should leverage this asset. It's a 57-page document and 20-minute video to walk you through it. Spoiler alert, cutting prices is not in the list of recommendations, just so that I got that out of the way. There are recommendations about offering lower cost alternatives where you offer lower prices but hold or maintain gross margin. That is different from discounts. So we're clear. Using their past performance data, Service Leadership makes projections on revenue performance for managed services, project services, private cloud, and product-centric businesses. There are projections for the performance of these businesses and what they can expect from a revenue perspective. In previous videos, I've also cited financial projections for the economy from Forrester, from Tech Isle, from Bank of America. Leveraging past performance through down economic cycle does allow for analysis to be done. Saying there isn't data is a cop-out. You know how angry you get at other IT people who just do stuff and call themselves experts? Well, consultants and advisors are much the same. Anyone can do it. There is no prerequisite. The difference between those advice you should listen to and those who are to be ignored is about methodology. Why do I listen to investors for guidance? Because investors have tested their theories with money and they've measured it with the return on their investment. Why do I listen to those who sell a methodology that's been implemented over time? Because those advisors have clients who have measured and reported back their success. Why do I listen to someone who has managed the relationship with a collection of companies over an extended period of time? Because if their compensation is tied to the performance of those companies, they have also leveraged data. Why do I ignore someone who cites their experience as the reason to listen to them? Because there's no measurement of knowing if their opinion means anything. Owning a business, even 2 or 3, is not enough to qualify you to optimize other people's businesses. Data matters. Those who've used any system, tested it, and implemented it with firm measurements at significant scale is in a stronger position to give guidance. Right now, there are a lot of people giving advice. The old adage, measure twice, cut once, is so critically important right now. Focus on trusted, knowledgeable sources and ensure they are doing the research on who they are, but where their opinions come from. Before, bad advice might just hurt. Right now, bad advice can destroy your business. Be very critical of those giving you advice. Thanks for listening. This is the kind of news and commentary that I deliver every single day on the 5-Minute Business of Tech podcast. Find it on all the podcatchers with links at mspradio.com to subscribe. If you're catching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel where you get the video versions of my commentaries and some additional video commentary and content. Thank you for listening. You get all those links again at mspradio.com, and I will talk to you soon.